Hello, everybody, and welcome to Culture Under Fire with Marjorie Waldo, making a case for the arts. Today, we're talking about art as identity, and we're having a conversation with Ms. Nicole Henry. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, thank you for having me. Wonderful to be with you, Marjorie.
So every brushstroke, every note, every line tells a story of who we are. And in this episode, I'm with Nicole Henry, exploring how personal creativity connects to cultural identity and community, and how individual artistry carries history and innovation into the public square, which we've absolutely seen at your many performances at Arts Garage.
Fun.
It's
Thank
really
you.
cool that you're here.
Oh, it's always fun to be at Arts Garage too. So thank you for
You're
mentioning
a
that. Yeah.
fan favorite and one of my
Mhm.
personal favorites. So
Thank
I want to
you.
brag about you a little. So I'm going to read some things from your bio. Your song or an album, Teach Me Tonight,
Yes, the
was
album.
it a song or an album?
That was an album.
Album
Mhm.
was #1 in Japan
Yes.
and named HMV Japan's Best Vocal Jazz Album of 2005. You received the 2013 Soul Train Music Award for Best Traditional Jazz Performance. You've performed in over 20 countries, including Jazz at Lincoln Center, the Blue Note, and many, many times at Arts Garage. You've been involved in musical theater, including The Bodyguard, The Color Purple, and Smokey Joe's Cafe. You are a board member. This appeals to me so much, and it's one of the things that moves me about you. When I see you on the stage, I see you as a performer, but I also see the woman behind the performer on the stage. You're a board member and active supporter of the Miami Music Project, which is an organization dedicated to empowering youth through high-quality music education and teaching teamwork, discipline, and confidence. You are a dedicated advocate for equality, partnering with the SAVE Foundation to support the LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and to fight for health equity and local protections. And the city of Miami Beach and Miami-Dade County have issued proclamations naming Nicole Henry Days in 2011, 16, and 17.
And 2024.
That's
Gee,
really, really cool.
It's chilling. It's just got goosebumps.
Yeah, no, when I
Yesterday.
read
It's
that,
so
it just
sweet.
blows me away. And here I am getting a chance to sit across the table from
Mm,
you. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for reminding me about those things.
What
Um,
made you do this? What made you become a performer, specifically a singer, a
mm.
diva of a singer and an actor? You do it all.
You know what? I remember the day specifically. Well, I remember the feeling. It was April in 1996 that I had an opportunity to perform not like one song, not like the national anthem or one song at a talent show or, that kind of thing. But I had an opportunity to perform 4 songs at a performance. It happened to be a rave in Orlando. I was
Okay,
singing
cool.
house music, dance music
That's really
that I
cool.
had recorded when I was in college. And so in doing this 4-song set, it was the first time in my life that I got truly nervous, and I just had this buzz going through my entire body that was like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing. This feeling is something I wanna do again, I wanna experience again, and all I wanna do is get better at this and get better at performing."
So you said you recorded some of those songs in college. So when
Yes.
did you start singing publicly, even if it wasn't in the
I'd
club
say in
vibe?
3rd grade, I
Okay.
get
So
school
as long as you
choir.
can remember.
Yeah, 3rd, school choirs. First time, and thank goodness my mom put us in school, she moved to Bucks County, out of Philadelphia.
Okay.
We had gone to private school in Philadelphia, my sister and I, for the first few years of our, education, and then we moved to Ben Salem High School system, and they had the arts. They looked and made sure that our schools were going to have arts, and my mom told us at a young age, "All right, you all have to get involved in school in some capacity, do some kind of extracurricular, whatever." And I loved music. My sister wasn't in the choir now that I think about it, but I loved music. So I loved singing. I was in the choir. Also, when we got to middle school, she said, "All right, you have to learn an instrument. Pick an instrument, whatever one, you're going to do one." We were like, "Oh, cool." So I played cello for 6 years. And so 3rd grade, yeah, choirs,
It's
choirs.
really
And then I
amazing.
think that was when I first got my first solo in church. I didn't get my first solo in in elementary school till 5th grade. But yeah.
So I'm going to bet that the Orlando experience that you described, part of what gave you goosebumps was the interaction with the audience.
Entirely. That was it. Because to me, singing isn't only singing the songs, it's what you say in between the songs, how you move the audience and how you get them to be a part of what you're doing and how you involve the audience. So singing is one thing, but getting that feedback, getting them to be a part of the song
Well, when you
and the
perform at Arts
performance.
Garage,
Yeah.
you are really good at engaging the audience. They
Thank
feel
you.
an active participant in your shows.
Fun.
And
Fun.
I think the best performers are able to make it feel like it's a family, sort of like you're really um, doing it together
It really
almost.
feels like that. I look forward to that when I perform, and that's exactly what it is.
Last
Get it
fall,
all
you
done.
did Artist in Residence at Arts Garage,
Mm.
and we had a very small group of seniors that came to watch sort of an open rehearsal.
Yes, that was so cool.
We all cried,
Ah,
including you.
it was really, really cool.
Why is that
Ah,
so important? Why is that to you specifically? Why is that so important?
well, it's in truth, for me at least, performing and getting a chance to sing is really you're giving messages to your audience. And then to actually have an opportunity to talk to your audience is like the real the real peeling of the onion, or really like let's pull back the sheets, let's pull back the curtains, and I get to actually say to you what I want to say through songs and share myself and share the important parts of myself, the questions that were asked, and it was like becoming friends, like you said, becoming family, be really getting to know
It was really
and
cool
to
to
share.
witness that and to see the
Mm.
response from the seniors who were in the room. What I think sometimes gets lost for people who are listeners or fans
Mhm.
is that every time someone is on the stage or their art is on the wall, they are in fact sharing who they are.
Yes.
They may not openly, some performers are better than others about engaging
Mm.
the audience and making them feel like it's a conversation sort of, right?
Mhm.
But they are still sharing their background culturally, their experiences,
You can see it. Yes.
their loves, it's
Their insecurities.
all there.
You can see
Yes.
it. I mean, I can see a person, w you know who they are when you see them on stage singing a song. You can see it. Particularly, I see insecurities, but then I also see their strengths and their passion and their desires.
Yeah. And I think a smart listener or viewer can tell when it's forced and when it's not. And
Mhm.
the best
Mhm.
performances are when it truly is this
Authentic.
conversation that
Yes.
is authentic and
Yes.
real in that moment. Like, I think performances change. For example, if you're there 2 nights, which you always are, the first night will feel a little differently than the second night because
Yes.
the audience changes.
Yes.
Who you are changes. We don't know
Mhm.
what you found out earlier that day about your personal
Mhm.
life or one of your musicians is off. So
There's
it
so
changes
many
completely.
yes, so many, components that can change the performance.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
One of the cool things about that Air series is that we're seeing performers do this open rehearsal, and you can see how difficult the job is because when you're on the stage, you make
Mm.
it look easy.
Mhm.
But figuring out the mix from the technical side, making sure that
Sure,
everybody on the stage can hear each other
sure.
clearly.
Right.
I mean, it's a really cool thing for people to share with us. So I'm ever
Yeah.
grateful.
I think it was a great idea for you all to create that
We
series.
thanks to the Cultural
Yes.
Council, Arts and
Very
Education
cool.
funding. It was a 2-year grant, so I'm gonna try to continue it
I
next
hope
year.
so, and that's great, like, I forgot to think about, the elder community not being able to get out at night,
That's
somet
right.
whether they're driving
That's
or just
right.
don't have the ride or
Or
whatever it
can't
is.
afford
Yes.
a ticket.
There you go.
And
It's
one of
such a
the
beautiful
key
service.
pieces Arts Garage focuses on, and I think the organizations that you're involved with in Miami, I think a big part of it is access, right? It's
Mhm.
making sure that people who might not otherwise have access get it.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
I think it's cool. Why don't you talk for a
Absolutely.
minute about the Miami Music Project?
It's such a wonderful organization. So they've been around for 17 years,
Okay.
and they're based on a Venezuelan system called El Sistema. A gentleman there decided to use music as an instrument to create social change. And as we all know, especially for young children, young students, music education, arts education, but in this particular instance, music education really expands the child's experience of life so much more, whether it be reflected in their math scores, their involvement and attention in school, but also expressing themselves, working in groups, confidence,
Mhm.
understanding that hard work, because with music education, practicing
Mhm.
makes you better. It's inevitable. Even if it's not your thing,
Right.
it's not, you're going to get better, and they can see that. And so, building their confidence, empowering students, it's just such a expressing themselves, working in groups, it's just such a wonderful organization. So they look at the schools in Miami-Dade County that do not offer music education, and then they go into the schools and offer it for free after school, 5 days a week. And so often these schools that don't have the arts education, they give them the meals, they give them snacks, they give them tutoring after class, making sure that they finish their homework. And as the student develops, even up until the fact that to the place that they're in 11th grade and 12th grade, they're helping them with college prep,
Right.
applying for schools, helping them with their, the applications, and making sure that they have money to submit those applications. And
Yes.
100% of all the students that have stayed in the program as to senior level have 100% have gone on to higher education.
Isn't that amazing?
And so
Because
they,
that's really
yeah,
what will change the world
that's, yes.
if we provide opportunities for kids. And it doesn't even matter if they stay in music.
It's not even the goal. We're not trying to create
Mm-mm.
musicians. We're trying to create rounded humans
Right.
have that have expressed themselves through art and understand the intimacy of art and music. Yeah.
All the research supports everything that they're doing. All the research.
Mhm.
I mean, music is math.
Yes, 100%. One hundred.
Lyrics are poetry
And
and
yes,
reading and writing skills,
absolutely.
right? So all of the research shows that student grades go up, their
Yep.
test scores go up, their attendance
Confidence,
improves,
their attention,
their
their
attention.
level. Mhm.
Kids who are in their teen years who participate in community or
Okay.
school-based arts education programs tend to be more civically involved when they get older. I mean,
That's
it
right.
just you can't
That's right.
dismiss the power of that. You can't.
Oh, and so it's just it's I am grateful for the organization and what they do to allow me to support them. You know what I mean? It's like, thank you for having this, and so that I can support you. Thank you for doing this for our children. Yes, for
It's
our
really,
world.
really cool.
Yeah, and I have an annual event that I do in December. I just had it last Thursday, so this is my 12th annual. Wow, that we just finished. And it's a concert that I put on, and it's a fundraiser, always a fundraiser. So, for the last 7 years, it's been Miami Music Project, and for the last 3 years, it's been Save as well. So we split the
So
proceeds. But the kids play with me at the concert. They do
isn't
a
that
song usually
awesome?
with me, so it's great to see them grow up. I've seen kids, come through the program and graduate. So
It's absolutely
yeah,
inspirational when a
yeah,
kid has an opportunity to be on a stage and see the audience and all that cool stuff that comes with being a performer and standing up in front of people. I think that's really awesome.
no, it's fun. And you know what I started doing the last 2 years, and shame on me, but not for having not done it years before, but we started giving them gift certificates as gifts, as a thank you for coming to perform. I
So
said,
they got
even
paid for
so they get paid,
performing.
because I told them, I said, no, people are going to tell you it's good exposure. I'm like, if you're entertaining, you should get paid as
Exposure
often.
does not pay FPL
Does not.
or the city of Delray
Yeah.
Beach water
So
bill.
it's
It
fun to
does not. So I
give them
think
that
that's a good
opportunity.
business
Yeah.
side of it to teach them too. I
It's
agree with
fun.
you.
It's fun.
So you have primarily at Arts Garage sung jazz
Mhm,
and the American Songbook.
mhm.
Why?
You know what? I fell in love with jazz, and like you said, primarily because I grew up listening to soul music outside of Philadelphia, soul, pop, MTV, whatever was on MTV. And I really hadn't consciously listened to jazz. When I decided to start singing full time, which was in 2000, late 2000, so 4 or 5 years after that experience, I figured out, and I told myself we were going to figure out how to make a living in
Uh-huh.
doing this.
Uh-huh.
So I had an in doing I was singing background vocals for this blues rock band. It was so fun. It was so fun.
A
So I did
blast.
that for probably about 50 shows that summer, and then a couple weeks on the road with them, maybe 60 shows. And so I said, okay, I have an idea of how I can make a living doing this. So I left the job that I had from after graduating college, which was a cool job. I was working for the Grammys, the Florida office
Okay.
of the Grammys. So I
Okay.
was learning and creating workshops about music and business and so forth. So I was learning and meeting people in the industry. Late 2000, I started singing full time, and I was working with a guitarist, and we would just do duo gigs around town, all kinds of music, whatever we knew, whatever I knew the full
Right.
songs of. And we were invited to do the 1.5 hour love hour, they called it, at a
Okay.
jazz club on
Okay.
South Beach. They had this great jazz club called Jazzid. So many of us have missed that on South Beach now. And so they were usually 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. in the morning back
Right.
in those days. So we would play at 8 o'clock, and then I would stick around and started listening to jazz. And I was
Ah.
like, oh, this is jazz. This is Frank Sinatra songs. This is
Right.
Cole Porter. This is the Gershwin. I'd watch the vocalists, that they would have 1 or 2 or 3 different vocalists for a few months that I would see. And I just fell in love with the entire thing. And then one of the things I'll mention that I fell in love with was I get to sing more than one ballad a night, because if you're performing at these hotel lobby bands, or wherever, restaurants, they don't want you to do too many ballads. They want the people dancing, they want them drinking.
Right.
So I didn't have an opportunity to play a lot of ballads, and I'm a sucker for a good epic ballad.
Right.
And learning and hearing these lyrics, I was like, these lyrics are so beautiful and poetic. So I fell in love with the genre. It was like, from 2002 to then around 2004 or 5, I stopped singing all the other music, and I was like, nope, I'm only singing jazz for the long. And then I just was all in. And then probably around 2012, I started doing 11. I started introducing more of my other music that I grew up on: soul, pop,
Right.
Whitney, all kinds of things.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, and I think our audience loves it. I mean, jazz, when it's a vocal jazz performance, it's storytelling because of that whole ballad piece. And it's a
Yes.
really cool thing to witness from the audience. I think it's a neat pocket of the music genre world. I think it's
Fun.
pretty
No,
interesting.
it is. The lyrics are they're standards for a reason. They
Yeah, for
stood the
sure.
test of time.
Universal.
Yes.
They're universal, even
Yes.
today. I agree.
Yes.
Okay, so I want to try to get a little more political. And I
Mhm.
want to ask you this. Somewhere on your website, it says that you see music as a powerful tool for social change, capable of healing, motivating, and calling out injustices. We
Mhm.
talk about that a little bit?
Well, and definitely healing. Injustices for sure, social change for sure. Once you're in a room at a concert, you're part of a community. You're part of not a movement per se, but you are a part of a community. So right
Yes.
there, your walls are down. There's no separation between you and the person in front of you, behind you,
Right?
next to you. You're sharing something intimate. So I think that brings people together. But we can go to the 60s, I mean, from Strange Fruit, what was that, in the 50s, 40s? Music is a messenger. And right now, it's ironically, driving here today, just 8 minutes before I pulled into the parking lot, my dear friend Hervé, who I went to college with, who also, we both studied architecture together for the first 2 years of college.
Oh,
And
I
yes,
didn't
I
know
studied
that.
architecture for the first 2 years. Well, he called me, and and we're both singers now. And
Okay.
he's he also does a lot of songwriting. And just yesterday, he sent me a song, one of his original songs. In fact, I was with him when he came up with the topic, the song title. The song title is Farming of Fools. And I told him, I said, I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. I'm going to listen to it after the interview. But I know what he's talking about. He's talking because we were talking about politics and the
Right.
insanity of what's going on in the world and the sadness of what's going on in the world. The greed and the power. And
Mhm.
greed and power
Mhm.
are just the things that have always ruined civilizations.
Mhm.
And
For
here
sure.
we are
Here we are
again. None of us want to see it go down, especially when it's like not even a handful of people that make this happen. Meaning, who starts wars?
Right.
A handful of people
That's right.
that want more money,
That's right.
or a handful. Yeah, it's all about money. Whether it's America stealing oil from Venezuela, selling guns to any country that we already.
Right.
Where?
Right.
How did guns get to Australia? America.
Right.
Well, how did guns get anywhere? America.
Right.
I mean, then that's the fact.
Right.
So we, news states the news. I mean, sometimes news is given to non-news,
Right.
factual,
Right.
fact-based places, but so we can't always count on the news anchors. They're supposed to just tell the news unbiased. Somebody has to give an opinion. Somebody has to give an opinion and tell a story
Right.
about the news.
That's right.
And who's going to do that?
That's right.
It's either our priests, it's, I guess, private school teachers, because you can't say anything in public schools, and then who else? Our artists, who are
And
community leaders.
historically, art has been a vehicle for social change, whether it's visual arts, theater arts, or music arts. It has always served
Always.
as a vehicle for that.
Yes.
And I believe that's because art is the great equalizer, right? So if you're at Arts Garage and you buy a ticket at the table with 7 other people that you don't know, they could be a completely different race, gender, ethnicity, from a different cultural background. And you're all sharing this one moment in time that
Yes.
can bring you together, right?
Exactly.
So it's a soft punch, if you
Right,
will,
right.
What's interesting now, though, is that I think our audiences don't always like hearing any of us say, please vote to support XYZ, or please remember that
we need
taxpayer
Dollars.
revenues help give you a community that you're proud to live in and enjoy living in, right? They don't like to hear that. They just want to come hear you sing.
Right.
And I think it's important now more than ever,
Now
at
more
least
than
in my
ever.
lifetime,
Yes.
to share why we're able to go see Nicole Henry or any other performer or band or play perform at Arts Garage.
Yes. And almost any venue, almost every arts venue is supported by the government, by our tax dollars, meaning the government, the
Yes.
government that gives us that,
Yes.
distributes this money, our taxes, because it costs.
And it's not a money-making thing unless you have a for-profit venue
Right.
that sells food, alcohol,
Right.
and worries maybe, not necessarily, but maybe a little less about the quality of the performance, gives the people what they want and what's fun to dance to. What was American Bandstand? It's got a good beat and I can dance to it. That was like the famous quote that everybody that attended those
Oh, that's funny.
TV
That's
tapings
cute.
said, right?
That's
So you
cute.
can give the audience what they want, but it may or may not have the value that, at least at
Mhm.
Arts Garage, we really try to make sure that what people can see, it's a listening room, right? It's not a
Right.
room where you're supposed to talk
Right.
over the performance. You're really there to engage with the performance. That's your
Which is
primary responsibility.
what a venue.
And
Yeah.
that's what people expect now. They don't like it when
Absolutely.
people are
Chatting
whispering
away.
in the background.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
think one of the important things, and one of the reasons I started the podcast, was to try to find a way to share with the public
Mhm.
that you cannot separate the ability to go enjoy a show at Arts Garage with the responsibility of making sure that the people who represent you understand how important it is to you and your community. I don't think you
Excellent.
can separate those things. We've never, for example, at Arts Garage, I've never told anybody that I think you should vote for a person.
Right.
I've said,
Nicole.
fact-based things. The governor vetoed our budget, or whatever was happening in the moment.
Right. Or we need a vote towards this thing on the ballot. Not so
Right.
much the representative you want to vote for, but the cause,
And
or
know
yes.
who you're voting for. Know what they think.
Yeah.
Because there is also a disconnect, I think, in Tallahassee and perhaps in DC, between it's harder to have this disconnect if you're in county government or city government, because you're living in the community where you
Mhm.
see these art forms taking shape
Mhm.
and being observed and participated in. But if you're in Tallahassee
Mhm.
voting on property tax reform,
Right.
which sounds like a good idea,
Right.
if the reform reduces local municipality dollars to a county or city to a point where they cannot then afford to support organizations that feed the community, because the research, I think, from the Americans for the Arts Action Fund, I believe I'm quoting it right.
Mhm.
And Morgan Fernari would be mad at me if I didn't, because she was on one of the first episodes. I believe that for every dollar government gives arts and culture organizations, we feed back $6.
Yes.
So it's an investment in the community. It's an investment in the people in your community. It's an investment in small business in your community.
Yes.
The majority of people that come to your shows are going to dinner before, maybe a bar
Mhm.
after. They're paying
Mhm.
parking fees. They might come up from Miami and decide to stay in the hotel around the block so they don't
Generates
have to drive
money.
home.
It generates, yes.
It generates a pretty significant
Absolutely.
bucket of dollars for
The state, for
the state, the
municipal-
country, the county, the cities that we live in.
Exactly.
It absolutely makes a difference. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to figure out a way, while I'm building the plane, I'm trying to figure out how to wallpaper it with
Ugh.
some way to soft serve the importance of understanding, if I vote for that,
Mhm.
let's say you're a Tallahassee
Mhm.
politician, either in the House or the Senate. If I vote for this, which is a good idea in terms of saving money and reducing the impact on homeowners or taxpayers, I'm also going to make sure that this venue no longer exists.
Right. That's
Or
exactly the
has to
result.
peel back. It has to peel back a lot of their programming because they can't afford to do
Mhm.
as much.
Mhm.
And for many, even during the pandemic, we saw a lot of places close. They couldn't sustain
Absolutely.
themselves.
Yes. It's a big puzzle, funding for a city, a county. It's a huge puzzle. And in America, I think we actually don't pay as much tax as some other countries that
Agreed.
function very much better.
That's right. That's right.
That function much. This person in office talks about Norway and Sweden and all these other places. Look at their tax brackets and look at the services that they get. And it's not only the art services that are going to be less funded, but it's all other kind of social services that people don't
Education.
realize that they take advantage of.
Absolutely.
And-
Food, for food deserts, people who don't have access easily to
All-
purchase food.
All kinds of services. And then the government subsidizes so many other things in our communities that people don't even realize our tax dollars go to. And I think it would be an interesting. I always thought that our budgets, like high school, we should look at what a budget looks like for the county. Why don't you show us where do all our tax dollars go? Trash, electricity, where do our dollars go? And then that will help us understand that's what our taxes are paying for.
That's right.
You know,
Well, the
and
whole property tax thing, yes, it would be nice to cut several $1,000s out of my annual expenses.
Mhm.
But do I want it to take longer to fix the roads in my neighborhood?
Right.
Or do I want fewer police and fire rescue people available for crisis
Right.
times? Let alone do I value what my community looks like. Delray's amazing. Delray is a really cool place. So is
Beautiful.
Miami. And Miami Beach in particular. I spent a lot of time I lived in Miami Beach for some
Mhm.
time. And they're both amazing community. Well, what do they look like without as much arts and culture as they
Mhm.
currently have? What do they look like without some of the nonprofits helping the community members who aren't making
Right.
enough to live?
Right. Yes. When I'm 65 or 70, what's it going to look like for me to get such and such service? Why wouldn't I want somebody who's that age right now to get the services that
That's
are
right.
There's just so much.
There's
So,
a lot.
but the schools alone, I mean, for me,
Alone.
education is like, why would I want to cut taxes? As it is, our school system isn't as strong as it should be.
Right.
Why are we 44th is it 44th?
It's low.
For all developed countries? We're number somewhere between 30 and 44 or something like that.
Yeah.
In America.
Shame on America.
So
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I love our country. I love people, but it's really, we need to, in my opinion, Democrats need a new advertising agency.
Right.
They need a
Right.
new plan.
Well,
I've
and
never seen.
communication, we need to make sure, because it's not just the government's doing this.
Mhm.
We elect those governors, the people in governance. We elect the representatives. We
Mhm.
elect the senators. We elect the mayor and the city commission. And thank goodness Delray has the one that they have, or that Miami. I don't know if it was
Yes.
Miami Beach or the county. I think it was the county where they changed their budget to put arts and culture back
Oh.
in that was threatened to be taken away.
I think it was the county.
So we want those communities to feel good about that investment in their people, because that's really
Yes.
what it is. It's investing in your people.
Exactly.
If you take away some of that ability to, I don't want to live in a community that doesn't care if people are starving.
Oh goodness.
I don't
That's
want
a
to live in
whole-
that community.
That's a whole issue with I just don't understand how. What did somebody I read a statistic, or if the state of California grew all the fruits and vegetables that it could feasibly grow, that it would be enough to feed
All of us.
all of us, and nobody would go hungry.
Hard
Why
to
are there-
process. Why aren't we doing that then?
My mom raised me, and I'll never forget. She said, "For as rich as America is, nobody should be homeless and nobody should be hungry."
For sure.
It still doesn't make sense to me
For sure.
that this is the state that we're in. I mean, meaning the way of the world. That's
Yeah.
how this is
Agreed.
what's happening.
I agree with you 100%. It's a scary place.
It's not about a handout. It's like if everybody is healthier in the community, then everybody's going to be healthier all the way around. And
Always.
that's I don't understand.
You know, it's like in leadership. If you have a
Yes.
leader who is afraid to hire someone to work with,
Mm,
who knows more than they do about something, they're afraid that will make them look bad. It doesn't.
not
If
at
I
all.
surround myself with brilliant people, then I look even more brilliant, right?
Yes.
And if you're fed and happy and have access to arts and culture, to a great education K through 12 and opportunities to go to college, I am better off as a result.
Absolutely.
So I think we need to reframe that conversation and make sure that we're all clear on what we're actually voting for.
Right. And that's the tough. You talked earlier about an organization, Save, who is one of the oldest, about 30 plus years, serving South Florida community, particularly protecting the rights of gay, lesbian, the LGBTQ community. And what I really love about that organization is not only do they do community outreach, uh, educate the community about all kinds of things from just education. But they also are very the third tier of their advocacy is government affairs, making sure they know who's on the right side of or on their side and encouraging the people that support them to go out and vote, to
Yep.
get the vote out,
Yep.
support this candidate because and what I find most of the candidates that support LGBTQ are supporting the arts.
Correct.
And that's why I love
Not always, but a
very
lot of the
often.
time.
Very often
Yes.
it's all about,
Yes.
civil liberties
Yep.
and yeah. And so I appreciate that element. But it's a very true. And to go back to the comment about when people say, "Oh, you should try to stay away from politics." And I appreciate their perspective.
Right.
But unfortunately, I also come with a brain and a heart that if I have the opportunity to suggest an idea for somebody to think about, I'm going to open my mouth and say it. And
And
I have a microphone. And so
and
yeah,
I
that's
think you're
just what it
spot
is.
on, and I think it's
Yeah.
your responsibility. I think
Yeah. I feel
we
like I
all
have
have a
to.
responsibility to use our platforms to create a more beautiful, stronger world.
Yes, indeed.
I
Indeed.
agree 100%. I'm trying to think. I think we, in a roundabout way, touched on everything that I wanted to ask you about
Mhm.
during the episode. Is there anything that you would like to talk about before we close out?
Well, one, I just love that you are at Arts Garage, that you all are, you can go find all kinds of art there. Everything. For everyone, and I just congratulate you on your
I thank you for
programming.
that.
I thank you for that. I just it's I'm every year I look at your, every I get the emails. I'm so proud of what you all are doing.
You've watched
So,
an evolution of that beast. You've seen it shift significantly over the
yes.
last 9 years, 9 or 10 years. We'll be
Yes.
celebrating our 15th year next
I
year, which
love it.
is amazing to me. And I've
Congrats.
been fortunate enough to be
Awesome.
there for the last 9. I'm real proud of what
Awesome.
we do. I'm real proud of how diverse our programming is,
Mhm.
how we do attempt to break the rule that you can't make everybody happy all of the time. I at least try to make you happy once a year.
Oh, at
There's
least.
got to be
Oh,
something
come
on the
on. Oh, yeah,
calendar that will make you happy
you've
once.
got all kinds.
So I
Yes.
appreciate you
That's
saying
great.
that. It means the world. And you're a
Thank
big
you.
part of why we've been able to do that because you stuck with us when you weren't even sure your check was not going to bounce.
Oh,
So you
no
stuck it
worries.
out
Oh,
with me and helped
yes.
me make a real change in what we were doing there.
Well, thank you for mentioning that, but I'm a small little part. But yeah, you're hiring your staff, everything. It's
It's an
just
amazing team of
top
people.
notch. Yes,
Yeah.
and I know how hard it is to have a good functioning business. So it's congrats.
I
Thank you.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. So what are you working on right now? Is there anything new in the works?
Well, every year you got to take stock of what was working and what you're grateful for. For me, I'll be hopefully recording a new album in the first quarter. It's going to be called The Ballads and the Blues.
Ooh.
I love ballads and I love blues, so we're kind of putting
Ooh.
those together. And I have my Whitney show that I continue to do,
Mhm.
so I'll do a little bit of that. But I wanna get back on the international plane.
Yes.
I haven't done as much international travel as I've done in the past, so I'm working
Mhm.
on that
Oh,
again.
that's
Yeah,
good. Well, you'll have to
yeah,
do the ballad and the blues at Arts Garage. Maybe we could do an album launch party there.
would love it.
Wouldn't that be
I love
cool?
that idea.
I think that could be really cool.
I love it.
All right. Well, I cannot thank you enough for driving all the way from Miami, which is no small feat,
My pleasure.
to spend
Totally my
a little bit of
pleasure.
time with me here
Great to
and
see
to
you.
talk about what's important to you. And I think
Thank you.
what's important to the world. I'm really
Yeah,
grateful.
you never know what you're gonna be doing. As I'm sure you've gotten many emails, w- giving people an opportunity to feel through art
Yeah.
is such a blessing, and you never know when you're gonna touch people, when you're gonna change somebody's world. But hopefully, hopefully, you're making it better in some way.
Well, I'm
And
going to
that's
thank you for that comment because I can give an illustration which we talked about before we started recording, my mother was very ill for 3 years. She had vascular dementia, which and died earlier in 2025. One of the last times she visited Florida before she started having a series of strokes, she came to Arts Garage to my father and my mother. And we put your photo on one of I think July, of a calendar we did for our volunteers. I gave my parents a copy of that calendar. My mom, a year and a half into her dementia, knew your name, remembered the performance, remembered how beautiful you were and how much she enjoyed the concert. And they stopped changing the photo in the calendar for that month. They just left it on July until she passed away. So what I'll tell you is that the impact you make on people, sometimes you don't even realize. You know, at the end, my mom was unable to say a whole lot. She was unable to get up out of the bed. She lost the use of the right side of her body. But we put a Bose speaker in her room and played gospel music from her life. And she was able to sing along the melody and the majority of the words when she couldn't say simple sentences with the people in the room. It changes people dramatically. It didn't make my mom better. It didn't end her story differently, but it gave her moments of joy that were super important at a time when there wasn't much joy. So I hope you know how meaningful it is. And I think a lot of people don't say out loud the impact you make. You make a huge impact. People talk about you long after you're out of Arts Garage and can't wait for you to come back. And I think the stories they carry home would make you cry. It sure did for us, make a big difference and made us happy.
Thank you for sharing that. That's
so very, very grateful.
That's such a blessing to be a part of somebody's life in that way. It
And
really
you are,
is.
and
Thank you.
will always be. And I am so grateful that you spent time with me today.
Thank you, Marjorie.
My diva friend, Nicole Henry.
Thank you.
I hope you'll share the podcast. I hope all our listeners will check in again for the next one and subscribe to Culture Under Fire. You can find it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anywhere else that you listen. You can see it if you'd like to see how beautiful Miss Henry looks today. You can see it on our YouTube channel at Arts Garage.
Love it.
If you have ideas for guests or for topics, you can email me at info@artsgarage.org or call our box office. I never remember that number, so you can check it out at artsgarage.org. Again, thank you so much, and we'll talk to our listeners next time.
Great to be with you.